This is our Education 240 project, and we'll be covering the social issues with the education system.
And the sex education.
Yeah, my topic will be about how school systems suppresses students' creativity, and it kills it.
And my topic is why the student need the sex education.
Yeah.
And we set up a lot of questions about school system and sex education. And I have about 5 questions to ask Frank about the school system. The first question is, what do you think about the mass schooling of education?
For this topic, I feel like students are like mass taught in a factory, like the Fordism of mass-produced schooling, and they are forced into the system, and it shows like a side of the authority, like the social mechanism authority, and then it's like we are still stuck in a 19th century model, where like we're just forced to learn at school and then just learn all these things, and then we're taught that by this way, this is how we'll get a job in the future.
And the second question is, do you think creativity in students are suppressed in the present school systems?
Yes, because I believe that they aren't really able to choose the courses they want to pick, and that they are not as motivated to learn the subjects that they want to, and that way they are forced to learn subjects and like memorize it when they can, and it just kills the creativity overall.
And the third question is, do you think that students in school system are suppressed in their choice of education and what they want to learn?
Yeah, I think they are definitely suppressed in their choice of education system. Like earlier in the other question, they aren't able to choose the course they want. Like unless like they're in like university, there are many varieties shown. But then if there are like courses like in arts or something that is not provided, I don't think they're really able to choose the choices. I think they should follow the example of where in Chile, they had a protest movement where the activists, they ended up burning the deed and making the education system free. And I think by doing that, it allowed the students to not worry about their GPA as much, and then not worry about like if they had to pay money for school, because without the deed, they don't education system is free, and this way they can choose what they want to learn, and they don't have to worry too much about it.
And the fourth question is, what would you do differently if you were able to change the education system with the option to help students choose what they want to learn?
I would definitely try to offer like a variety of programs that would come based from students and parents' opinions, and have them like list out a few choices of courses that they would be interested in learning, and see if there are many other people that agree with this. So not just one person agrees of learning this. So that at least there are many people interested in learning it.
And then the last question is, should they be allowed to choose the course what they want?
Yes, I believe so, because that way they are able to find their true interest while still learning the basics, like for example math and English and etc. Because like those skills are so somewhat needed in the world, but I think they should have a choice where like what level they can learn up to. Yeah, and I think it just shows like a set of recognition where school systems should recognize this from students, and that they should be able to provide for them.
And I think what I learned from Frank, the school system would care the students' creativity, and the school system should update and pay close attention to what the student's interest.
And I actually want to go back to my question one. I missed the point. I think that for the mass schooling of education, they're also like taught that these, like for example, like courses like math, or engineering, computer science, and those kind of jobs, like those kind of courses will get you a job in the future, and that many like courses like in arts are like shown as not as well like good for the future, and like you won't be able to find a job. And I think that just shows like another side of authority where the school system just like has an authority and they pretty much set up like a guideline of like how to succeed. Yeah, and then I have also prepared a few questions for Sky. What do you think defines sex education?
Sex education is the instruction of in relation to the human sexuality, include the emotional relations and the responsibilities, human sexual and autonomy, sexual activity, sexual reproduction, age of sentence, reproductive health, reproductive rights, safe sex, birth control, and sexual abstinence. Sex education not covers all of both these aspects is known as comprehensive sex education. Commonplace for sex education are parents, school program, and public health campaigns.
What do you think the difference between sex education in Canada and sex education in your country would be like?
I think the sex education of Canada include 9 parts. The 9 parts are the first one, the genitalia, and the second one, promoting, the third one, masturbation, and the fourth one, identity, the gender identity, the fifth one, cultural teachings, the sixth one, online behavior, the seventh one, obtainers, the eighth one, sexual transmitted infection, and the ninth one, consent. But I think in my own country, the teacher think the sex education is something cannot talk to the children. The teacher just talk to the students who are in grade 10 and what the cause to the children are sexual assaulted.
Okay. And for my third question, which kind of support would be afforded by schools to the students who need sex education?
I think the school would offer to the health or home economics or physical education class. Some schools offer the sex education advisor, and some websites would show the resource about the sex education.
Okay. And for my fourth one, what are the damage of lacking sex education? And what are the benefits of taking sex education?
I think the damage of lack sex education is unintended pregnancy and the sex transmitted infections, be sexual assaulted. I think the benefit is if the teenager learn the sex education, they will protect themselves.
Okay. And why do you think sex education is necessary overall?
I think the student for the teenager and the kids should know the identity of the gender, and they should realize that sex education is significant, and they should know the knowledge to protect themselves.
Okay. Well, I think after hearing Sky answer all the questions, what I learned is that I do believe that sex education is very valuable, and that students should be able to learn at a young age, because at a young age they aren't really able to think for themselves. I think there should be some guidance from either schools or parents to teach them at a young age of like safe sex, pretty much like their gender identity, and like how to avoid like for example sexual transmitted infections, or even like pregnancies, because at a young age they don't really know what is right and what is wrong, and then they might be like taught from someone else older than them that they should do this when they shouldn't?
Back to back to my country, sex education. Some unlucky case maybe get HIV for the unsafe sex. That's the bad news for us. So
Yeah.
I think the child need to learn the sex education and protect themselves.
Yeah, I know definitely in China, stuff about sex is like kind of taboo. So then the authority there pretty much just states that anything about sex should be kind of kept on the down low and that they shouldn't talk about it. Yeah. So I can see what you mean from there.
That's it.
多久？